You know how everyone's always saying you are what you eat. Well, today we're going to dive deep into whether that applies to our mental health too. Like, can what's on our plate really change how we feel? We've got some intriguing research to unpack here.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating area. We'll be looking at the gut-brain axis, which is a lot cooler than it sounds, really, the impact of specific nutrients like omega-3s. And we'll even touch on the cutting edge of something called nutritional psychiatry.
See, I told you, I'm hooked already. But I've got to say, I've always been a bit skeptical. Like, sure, food gives us energy, but to actually affect our mood, I need some convincing.
Well, let's start with that gut-brain axis then. So instead of thinking of your gut and your brain as like separate entities, imagine they're in constant communication. And this isn't just about digestion signals. We're talking about a complex exchange of information influencing everything from immunity to, you guessed it, emotions.
Okay, so it's more than just butterflies in my stomach when I'm nervous. What's actually going on down there?
Well, the key players are the gut microbiota. These are trillions, literally trillions of microorganisms living in your intestines. We're talking about a whole ecosystem. And they're not just kind of freeloading down there, they actually produce neurotransmitters.
Wait, those are the brain chemicals, right? Serotonin,
Mm,
dopamine, the ones we always hear about.
exactly. And it turns out that a significant portion of them are made in the gut, not just the brain. So this means that the composition of your gut microbiota can directly impact your mood.
So if my gut bacteria are unhappy, then I'm unhappy. That's both wild and slightly disturbing.
It is pretty amazing when you think about it. It highlights how interconnected our bodies really are. And this is exactly why diet becomes so crucial. What we eat feeds those gut bacteria, it shapes their populations and ultimately what they produce.
Okay, so that brings us to the whole food for mood thing, right?
Yeah.
I've always heard that omega-3s are brain boosters. Does eating salmon actually make me smarter?
Well, it might not be about like raw intelligence, but omega-3s are definitely key for brain function. Recent studies have suggested that they're involved in the structure of brain cells themselves, especially in areas linked to mood regulation.
So it's more than just the old healthy fats are good for you general advice.
It's getting much more specific now, yeah. Plus, you've got the anti-inflammatory effects of omega-3s. Inflammation throughout the body, and that includes the brain, is linked to all sorts of issues, mental health included.
So if my joints are aching less, my brain is happier too. This is making me look at my grocery list in a whole new light. What about other nutrients? I feel like B vitamins are always talked about for energy.
You're right on the money. B vitamins, especially B12 and folate, are essential for healthy nerve cells and energy production at a cellular level. If your cells are running low on fuel, your brain power and mood definitely take a hit.
It's like my brain's running on fumes instead of premium. No wonder I get that afternoon slump. Okay, so omega-3s, B vitamins, anything else I should be stocking up on?
Magnesium is often overlooked, but it's crucial for your stress response and muscle relaxation. Ever notice how tension seems to build up and affect your mood? Magnesium can really help with that.
Now that you mention it, when I'm stressed, my shoulders are practically up by my ears.
Yeah.
I do love some almonds and leafy greens, which I think have magnesium in them. So we're building our happy brain grocery list here. But what about entire ways of eating? The Mediterranean diet always sounds amazing. Is it actually that good for you?
It's more than just delicious. The Mediterranean diet is rich in antioxidants, fiber, and those healthy fats we talked about. But there's also emerging research showing it shifts the balance of gut bacteria towards a more diverse and beneficial community.
So it's not just the food itself, but how it impacts that whole gut ecosystem we discussed.
Exactly. And that shift towards a healthier gut microbiome has been linked to lower rates of depression and anxiety. Among other benefits, it's like a natural mood booster built into a delicious lifestyle.
Okay, that's pretty convincing. Now we got to ask about the flip side. We all know those comfort foods that aren't exactly brain food. What about them?
Unfortunately, the typical Western diet high in processed foods, sugars, and unhealthy fats does seem to have the opposite effect.
Oh, I know I should cut back on those, but sometimes a burger and fries just calls my name.
We've all been there. The problem is, those foods can lead to chronic inflammation and oxidative stress, which can damage brain cells and disrupt those delicate neurotransmitter balances.
So it's not just about feeling sluggish after a junk food binge, but an actual long-term impact on my brain. Yikes.
It's another reason why understanding this gut-brain connection is so important. It's not about guilt-tripping over every food choice, but making informed decisions that support our overall well-being.
Well said. This has all been super insightful, but I have to admit it feels a bit overwhelming. Like, where do I even start making changes?
Don't worry, it doesn't have to be a complete dietary overhaul overnight. Even small, consistent changes can make a big difference.
Give us some actionable steps. What's the first thing our listeners should focus on?
Definitely incorporating those nutrient-rich foods we discussed. Think fatty fish, flax seeds, walnuts for those omega-3s.
Got it. Brain-boosting grocery list is growing. What about those crucial B vitamins?
Leafy greens, legumes, eggs, fortified cereals are all great sources. And don't forget about magnesium. Almonds, spinach, even dark chocolate can help with that.
See, healthy eating doesn't have to be boring. Okay, so we're loading up on the good stuff. What else can we do?
Another important tip is practicing mindful eating.
Now that sounds a bit no-agey. What does that actually mean in everyday life?
It's about being present while you eat, paying attention to the flavors, the textures, even the sounds of your food. Put away your phone, turn off the TV, and really savor each bite.
So no more scrolling through social media while shoveling in dinner.
Exactly. When we're distracted, we tend to overeat and make poorer food choices. Mindful eating helps us tune into our body's signals of hunger and fullness, leading to a healthier relationship with food.
That makes a lot of sense. I know I definitely zone out, and suddenly the bag of chips is empty. Any other pearls of wisdom?
Hydration is crucial. Aim for at least 8 glasses of water a day. Dehydration can really affect your concentration and mood.
Noted. Water is brain fuel.
Right.
So we're adding good stuff, being mindful. What about cutting back on the less healthy choices?
Just as important as adding good things is reducing the bad stuff, like sugar and processed foods.
Well, I know. But they're my weakness. Is it really that big of a deal?
They can really mess with your blood sugar levels, leading to those dreaded mood swings and energy crashes. It's like riding a roller coaster you didn't sign up for.
Okay, fine. I'll try to cut back. Anything else I should be thinking about?
Lastly, make sure you're balancing your macronutrients, your carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Each one plays a specific role in brain function, energy, and those all-important neurotransmitters.
So it's like a balanced breakfast for the brain.
Exactly. Think of it as providing the building blocks your brain needs to function optimally.
This is all making so much sense. I feel like we've only scratched the surface, though. There's so much more to explore here.
You're right, and that's where things get even more exciting. This whole field of nutritional psychiatry is really taking off.
Okay, nutritional psychiatry. That sounds both futuristic and hopeful. Tell me more.
Well, it's all about using personalized nutrition to improve mental health. You know, researchers are making some incredible discoveries about how specific foods and nutrients can impact conditions like depression, anxiety, even ADHD.
So it's like personalized medicine, but for food. Sign me up.
Yeah, imagine a future where you can get dietary recommendations that are tailored to your unique genetic makeup, to your gut microbiome and your metabolism.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like having a nutritionist who just knows you inside and out.
Well, we're not quite there yet, but the research is incredibly promising. And it's not just about these individual interventions either. There are growing public health initiatives that are focused on promoting healthy eating for mental well-being. We're talking about schools, workplaces, communities. Everyone's starting to recognize that food plays a vital role in mental health.
That's so encouraging to hear. It feels like we're finally starting to understand this mind-body connection in a deeper way.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that it's not just about diet alone. It's about adopting a holistic approach to mental health, combining good nutrition with physical activity, quality sleep, and stress management.
Right, it's all connected. So what does this all mean for us? What's the big takeaway from all this amazing information?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that we have more control over our mental health than we think. Food choices matter. They can impact how we feel, how we think, and how we function in the world.
That's powerful. It's like we're taking back some control of our well-being.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Small changes can make a big difference.
So if you could challenge our listeners to change one thing about their diet to boost their mood, what would it be?
That's a great question. I think the most impactful change would be to swap out those processed foods for whole, nutrient-rich foods. Focus on those colorful fruits and veggies, lean proteins, healthy fats, and whole grains.
It really feels like we've uncovered a whole new world of possibilities here.
It is empowering, isn't it, to realize we actually have way more control over our well-being than we often think.
I think so. And, it's not about being perfect, right? Like achieving some perfect diet overnight. It's more about just those small, sustainable changes, like
Mhm.
maybe swapping out those processed snacks for a handful of nuts,
Yeah.
or adding some extra veggies to our meals.
Right. Even those small choices, they can have this ripple effect on your whole health and happiness. And it doesn't have to be about deprivation either. It's more about kind of rediscovering that joy of eating real whole foods, the
Yeah.
kind that really nourish you from the inside out.
I love that. So as we wrap up this incredible deep dive into food and mood, I want to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question to consider. If you could change one thing about your diet today to boost your mood, what would it be?
Hmm. That is a great question. Just take some time to reflect on your current eating habits. Think about where you could make even a small but meaningful change. It really could be as simple as adding one extra serving of fruits or vegetables. Or maybe it's about being a little more mindful at meal times, putting away the phone and truly savoring each bite. And remember, this is a journey, not a race.
So true. Be kind to yourself, start small, and celebrate every step you take towards nourishing your mind and body.
Absolutely. And remember, we're always here to support you along the way. Don't forget to check out our show notes for all those links to the research and resources we mentioned.
We'll be back soon with more deep dives into these fascinating health and wellness topics. Until then, happy eating, everyone.